Is that a struggle at all ever? Do you feel like communicating with people
Yeah,
how much they're
I think especially for like beginners that don't have a lot of context for RPE, I use RPE as like a strict labeling system. It's not reps in reserve, right? It's out of 10, how hard did that feel? Right. And so like especially in person, I think it works better in person with new people. You know, they pull a weight. How did that feel on a scale of 1 to 10? A 7. Okay, so 7. Let's go up a little bit. How did that feel? Like a 9. Okay, well, let's hang out here for a little bit. And then you come back the next week. They're beginners, so they progress, pretty well in a week. And all of a sudden you can say, remember how this used to be 9, like just brutally difficult? Now you're calling it a 7. Well, that's a progression in strength. And like it immediately kind of clicks in their head, right? Like there's going to be days where things feel really light and you feel really strong, right? And those are days to push. And there's going to be days where you're just wrecked. And that's the point of that day, is just to get in, move around, punch your time card, and get out.
yeah.
And I have a saying like surf the wave. Right, ride the lightning, surf the wave. Like when it's there and that iron's hot, strike it. Right, if you feel ready to push, and we have the time schedule in terms of competition and how far out we are. Right, like I expect you to get after it and push, and we can correct on the back end, and adjust however we need to. But if you're feeling it that day, I want you to take advantage of that to the most responsible degree. And that's why I have caps, whether it's speed or percentage, right? But like it's pretty nice when you can string like 4 weeks in a row of like, here's the minimum, and they've added
Yeah.
every single week, right? And you just know, like, awesome, they're in an awesome strength improvement growth phase, and you can really just keep riding that out. Okay, there's the cap for this, block. Let's recycle back and give them time to recover and run it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like having the 7% like addition cap on there just for days that they do want to push, because I do run into that, especially when it's like early in the block and
Yeah,
workouts are supposed to be kind of easy, right? That's the whole purpose of what we're doing right now. And then they'll just immediately,
More
I
pounds.
feel great because it's a little bit of an easier percentage, so they'll just blow it out, and it's like, well, now we just kind of maxed.
yeah. What are we gonna do
We're
next week?
2 weeks into this fucking block and you pushed it. You look at the next 2 times we're on the bench press, you're not even going to touch that weight. So like just follow it. But I like that with giving them.
And so, like, when I talk about having a heavy exposure and then either a rep or a positional exposure, the heavy exposures you can auto regulate. The other ones you're going to run as is and progress over that block, even if it's really light and easy at the beginning. Awesome. Cool. That means I can make a good jump next week and we can run it again. And I try and chain as much of that together as possible where they're pushing those variations as well. And you get another 5, 6 weeks of that. That probably matches out pretty close to where they're at with their heavy movement exposure, right? And so when you feel like that's kind of the trick, is like, okay, both of these are end up going to be pretty high intensity at a certain point. Now, at that point, do you keep pushing the variations and let the the main effort drop down a little bit, or do you cycle them both down? And sometimes, it's just going to be a judgment call based on how far out they are and what you're trying to do. But I think it's fun sometimes when they both start hitting even, if you can recycle back the heavy stuff and then keep pushing that variation another week or two and then reset it. I think there's a lot of fun in that for lifters, and just always feeling like there's something challenging for them in the week.
Yeah.
Yeah, the idea of having that, I mean, I just call it like the volume day, but is really, I find it really good for like the kids that, because at least for us, like the kids get in and they get heavy right away, right? And that's the hook for powerlifting, is like the ability to go. So they almost all go through like a strength block, but then
Yes.
they also, like Kyle said, they get addicted to the fact that anything over 5 reps is
Cardio.
cardio. So like pushing them through like a legitimate like, volume block, they're always shocked by, because okay, like maybe I bench 225 and coach hasn't let me go above 175 on this volume block, but they're always shocked by like, holy shit, did that make me stronger? Like,
Uh-huh.
because
Yes.
you're gonna be bigger, like you're getting volumized, but also just the skill. That's a shit ton. If you only ever do 5-3-1, like that's not a lot of reps
Yeah.
at
No.
whatever you're doing, right? Like, so just the skill acquisition of doing 50, 70 reps on a bench press, like that's a big deal. Don't skip volume days.
No,
you're gonna look.
no, and I attribute a lot of that. I grew up in my early powerlifting doing like Shako, right, and just the volume from that. I always attribute to my long term success, just because I got out of comfortable rep ranges, and I always find when I get stuck in comfortable rep ranges, that's when I start to plateau and stall. And as soon as I start making myself do some tens, some eights, 5 weeks of fives, that kind of thing, like, oh, there's the strength I've been wanting.